A warm welcome to all watching our stream. Today I will discuss with several guests how AI pushes the transformation in Baden-Württemberg. Baden-Württemberg has always been the home of a lot of hidden champions in the industrial sector. We, the Allianz Industrie 4.0, work to keep the leading role in our industrial economy. My first guest today is Christian Lorenz, Director of Code N and the D-Hub Future Industries. We are here now in Code N in your offices, where you, in normal days, offer shared spaces for startups. And you have also a special connection to Hannover Messe. Which one?
Yes, in fact, Code N was invented in a way in 2012 for the CeBIT. Our founder, Ulrich Dietz, had the idea to create a platform for entrepreneurs and for innovative spirit. And so he transformed a traditional exhibition hall in a state-of-the-art meeting place. And that was Code N. Code N means the code of the new. And Code N is still there.
So, and which activities do you offer as Code N today? In which role do these shared places, like we are here, play in innovative processes?
It is not only the places and the spaces itself, it's the community, I think, which is important. We try to foster exchange, mutual conversations, exchange, interchange in sort of a pre-competitive surrounding, and this is very important. And we are running the DE Hub. So we were appointed DE Hub Future Industries, which is very important. So we don't only connect the ecosystem of startups and entrepreneurs here in the region, but we put them in a shop window, a nationwide shop window.
We also already had the chance to talk, and you told me you are also a conductor of classical music. You worked for the Beethoven anniversary, and classical music is also kind of quite old innovation, and it still impacts our life. So now my question, how can you see which impact technology or innovation will have later?
Well, in fact, through my eyes as an artist, I have a different perception of the world, and this is quite interesting because it offers also new perspectives in our conversations, in the sparrings with our business partners and with the young startups. So that's the first point. It's strange, it's a little bit funny, and it's very helpful, my background. And the second question, which current technology will have the biggest impact in our future lives? And of course, this is AI, because the digitalization everywhere is AI. And like the smartphone with all the apps had an influence on the lives of ourselves and our societies in so many aspects, still growing aspects, this will have digitalization, and digitalization is AI.
Thank you, Christian. This was an interesting discussion about innovation. And now I'm curious for my next speakers, where we will talk about AI. Then I welcome Olaf Sauer. He's Deputy Head of the Institute and the Business Unit Automation and Digitalization at the Fraunhofer IOSB in Karlsruhe. He's a quite special project. He builds a whole research factory from scratch. So, Mr. Sauer, it's quite interesting. Why you need a whole research factory?
We want to bring artificial intelligence and machine learning to the shop floor. And for this, we need a real factory just to develop, to test, and also to demonstrate the capabilities of artificial intelligence on the shop floor. And in our research factory, the Karlsruhe Research Factory, it's a joint initiative of the KIT, Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, and Fraunhofer. And in fact, in this research facility, we have not only manufacturing guys, but also people from three different disciplines. We have material guys from Fraunhofer ICT, Fraunhofer Institute for Chemical Technology. They are experts in material and process design. So, for example, they combine materials and develop new manufacturing processes, for example, for battery cells or battery assembly, for lightweight design, and so on. So we need these people, especially if we go for new materials in manufacturing. And on the other hand, we have the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, with the Institute of Production Science. And these people, they are experts in machinery, equipment, developing intelligent machines for these new types of materials and intelligent machine components to create and interlink and automate these new types of processes.
And which are the key points why you need to think all these three things together in one project?
The research factory is an infrastructure, I would say, as a large shop floor of 5,000 square meters, where companies can bring their new processes and their new machineries and their new lines to apply them with artificial intelligence and machine learning, so that we can develop and test new methodologies, but also to illustrate and demonstrate, because things are very complicated and it's not intuitive, so that we have to illustrate and to show what artificial intelligence is capable of in manufacturing.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned you have this cooperation of the three partners with three different fields of research, and so which other external things do you need in a project like this, for example, for the infrastructure or for the ecosystem?
In the Karlsruhe area, we have a lot of, IT companies. It's a very alive ecosystem. We have partners from not only KIT, but also the Research Center for Computer Science. We have small and medium-sized companies, but also the large multinational companies like Mercedes around and Bosch and so on. And Karlsruhe itself is a great location for information technology and in manufacturing. And in this city, of course, we have these well-known institutes, and now we bring them together in our smart factory, which is then another component in the very alive ecosystem. But it's not a laboratory or, let's say, a museum. So we really want to have projects where we apply new methodologies of artificial intelligence and machine learning, supervised and unsupervised learning on the shop floor.
So and for these interested companies out of this ecosystem, how can they get involved when they want to participate in this project?
Okay, they can contact myself and also the other institutes. The Karlsruhe Research Factory is not a legal entity itself. It's a joint initiative of these three participating institutes, where also Fraunhofer IOSB, where I come from, is engaged, and we bring the information technology and the machine learning know-how into this cooperation. And companies, they can benefit from, I would say, more long-term partnerships. Of course, we can have bilateral projects for that last 3 or 6 months or something like that. This is what we're used to. But we now also offer long-term partnerships, and we call it embedded scientists. Embedded scientists, they come from the companies, they are employees of the companies, and they can join our team and to work on special tasks of the company regarding artificial intelligence and machine learning for manufacturing. So they can do, for example, their PhD, and then later on, after their PhD, they return to their company and multiply the knowledge that they have gained together with our team. So they can really act then as multipliers within their own organization. So this means that embedded scientists, especially qualified staff inside companies, which can be, of course, small, medium-sized companies, but also the large ones.
Mm-hmm. So basically the focus lies not only the technology itself, the research on it, but also on the transfer from the knowledge into the companies. How does this work out?
It works. We don't want to stay in the ivory tower, as people always say when we talk about research. So in fact, we are supposed to be more a developing and testing environment where we cooperate with these types of companies. And in some cases, we also already have experience with these types of factories, because we already run one in North Rhine-Westphalia, Smart Factory OWL it is called. And what we see there is that companies that work in our teams, they sometimes generate innovation that comes, from talking to each other, from communication, without having somebody from Fraunhofer in the team. But the researchers and the people from the companies, they meet in such a space, in a very nice area, and they are then they go for new innovation because they have talked to each other and communicate and so on.
Mm-hmm. And this is quite interesting. So do you see a general change of development processes of new products in like this? So you have the cooperation between research and enterprises, but you have all these things together in one big project. What is the general development?
I would say that the projects that we currently do, they show that it's not only product development and manufacturing technology development, it's sometimes also the development of new processes, how people innovate or how companies innovate. Because what we see sometimes, these companies, they are somehow vaccinated against innovation. They have something like an immune system, because daily work, it has to run. So sometimes innovation is a little bit tricky. And this is it. So the research factory is a surrounding and an environment where companies can send their people and their employees to work together on somehow really strange ideas for new products and new processes and so on. And I would say the speed of innovation is increasing. So it's a good chance for them to have long-term partnerships with the institutes from Fraunhofer and from KIT, because it's interdisciplinary.
This is quite interesting. So I thank you for this interesting talk. We have seen how for this complex innovation processes we need new concepts, and I think the Forschungsfabrikas was one of these concepts. Thank you, Olaf Sauer. In our previous talk, we have heard how different fields of research and development have to cooperate to realize complex AI projects. Now I welcome Thomas Usländer. He's head of Department of Information Management and Production Control at Fraunhofer IOSB, and he's also head of the project CC King, the Competence Center Karlsruhe for AI Systems Engineering. AI Systems Engineering, this sounds interesting. Can you tell us more about this?
Yes, of course. So the project dates back to research questions that we already listed some years ago, because we think that engineers have to use new methodologies such as machine learning as part of AI, but they don't know really how to do that. And they also have questions like, okay, can I really trust in such an AI-based system despite the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning? Because this brings over new requirements, but also new constraints, and maybe a behavior of a system that is not as it is expected before. And that is why we think we need to think about engineering of AI-based systems, and that is why we asked for a project at the Ministry of Economics, Labor and Housing in Baden-Württemberg about AI systems engineering. In German, we call it KI engineering, but we cannot simply translate it to AI engineering, because AI engineering is just the perspective of the data scientist. But we have to bring this idea of AI not only to data scientists as a specialist discipline, as an expert discipline, we have to bring it over to engineers and also to computer scientists. So such a holistic approach of how to understand AI in complex systems, this is what we aim at tackling in that competence center, Karlsruhe, on AI systems engineering.
So again, it's a cooperation of different fields of research and development, quite interesting. But my question is now, which are the typical problems which enterprises have when they want to implement a business which is based on machine learning?
I think the basic problem is most of the enterprises do not know where to start. They do not know what type of data do I need and what kind of data do I have. So first of all, you need a kind of analysis, okay, about the problem to be solved, but maybe also about the business model behind once such a system has been established. So this first phase needs some support and also some systematic approach, and that is what we want to do with an AI systems engineering process model. We call this PACE, process model for AI systems engineering.
Mm-hmm. And Are there specific problems for small and medium-sized enterprises? I mean, if you have a big company, maybe it's easy to have a process model or something, but for small companies, what are specific problems there?
They don't have the personal, bluntly said. They typically are acting in niche markets, have niche products, and are very successful maybe in this endeavor. They are hidden champions. Now maybe the whole game changes because you need a data-driven approach and you need to have such expertise on AI, and you do not find the personnel on the market. So you need some tools, but before you have tools, you need a methodology behind. So you need both usable methodologies for engineers, including AI components, and also the tools that then work on top of these methodologies and apply them in a way such that the engineer may use them. So we need to bring together these different thinkings of a data scientist and an engineer, but also together with a computer scientist, because at the end of the day, it's an IT system which needs to run in a reliable and scalable way in maybe an edge cloud environment. So you have the classical also IT systems engineering tasks to do, including AI-based components.
So when it is difficult to find experts, how can standardized process models help to overcome this problem? For example, machine learning for production.
It's quite simple. You have a kind of guidance. How to run the project, where to start, and in which steps you have to do and run the project. And this process model not only includes the methodology, but also maybe the roles that you need in order to run each project phase. And these roles include then data scientists. If you don't have them in your company, then maybe you have to find them on the market for some time in the project phase, or you have powerful tools in order to get rid of just these data scientists. You can use them without them. Such a process model helps in defining the steps, to define the roles that you need, and also you get some guidance which type of artifacts, product results, process results in each step you need to develop in order to come over to the next step.
Now you talked about how you want to develop these process models, and now my question, how you want to bring this knowledge into the enterprises. Which transfer concept do you have?
We have two transfer instruments. First one is a quick check. That is a problem statement of a customer that we analyze and give him some first insights how to start the project. This also motivates our research in AI systems engineering. And the second transfer mechanism is a transfer check, which validates then our tools and methods for real-world projects and problems. And this is tailored and dedicated to system integrators.
Mm-hmm. And so your partners, I guess you don't do it alone?
Fraunhofer IOSB in Karlsruhe is the coordinator of this project, CC King. And the two other partners are the Research Center for Informatics, the FZI Karlsruhe, and also the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Usländer, for this interesting talk. I think here you can see how AI, often seen as a black box, find its way into the companies and how we can overcome the problems with process models. Thank you. Up to now, we have learned how different fields of research or technical disciplines have to cooperate in complex AI projects. Now I welcome Gennadi Schermann, who is Head of Innovation and Digital Ecosystems at the Cyberforum in Karlsruhe. As well, he's Manager of Digital Innovation Center in Karlsruhe. Gennadi, in your environment, it's quite interesting because there's a fascinating mix between knowledge of research institution, motivated startups, and the operating industry. That's my first question. What is first, the ecosystem or the innovation?
Hi, Lukas. Thanks for inviting me here. It's a good question. Indeed, I think both at the same time. even people didn't know what innovation or ecosystem stood for. Now we are pretty aware about different possibilities, instruments we can use to build up fruitful ecosystems, to foster innovation, to bring people together, to build up new cooperations, and to foster business models.
So, and how do you do this? So, what is your part to push this ecosystem? What is Cyberforum?
Yeah, well, Cyberforum is the largest high-tech network in Europe with more than 1,200 members, mostly coming from the ICT, web AI, IT security sectors. And our focus is to support companies in the high-tech sector within all stages of their development, from startup stage to cooperation, to innovation, to growth.
Mm-hmm. And so you already mentioned AI. Which role do you think plays AI right now in the most recent innovations we have?
Well, I mean, AI is not that new tool. It was developed, I think, 30, 40 years ago, but possibilities, the potential of AI methods have been growing since several years because of capacities. And we see AI technology as an instrument to optimize processes, to generate added value in organizations, and to build new services and products. It's a tool we can use to solve problems.
And where do you see the major challenges we have to overcome by using AI right now?
Yeah, I mean, there are several challenges we see, like to understand what AI can and where probably boundaries are. So it's, I mean, it's a essential thing companies have to understand, and to bring all the expertise together, like from AI technology, from business expertise and domain expertise, to think about potential use cases, about possibilities where AI can be applied, and which problems can be solved with AI or other technologies. So, I mean, the biggest challenge is to find the right use cases and to find right people to manage those projects.
So, Gennadi, how does this local ecosystem contribute to these solutions, to these new innovations?
Mm-hmm. The cultural ecosystem was awarded by the Federal Ministry of Economics and Energy 3 years ago as a national hub for applied AI. So our mission is to bring AI into application with different measures like networking events, with innovation workshops, to provide concrete use cases, to find right experts, and to have like a network, like a community in the AI, to transfer knowledge and to find new ideas with startups, with ICT companies, with domain experts, with research institutions. So we are very hardly working on it.
Okay, thank you, Gennadi, for this interesting discussion. And to our audience, I hope you had some interesting insights. And if there are remaining questions, maybe check out our website.